Hi, we're the Sage Seeking Sisters. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Stacy. And with us today we have our honored guest, Gretchen.
Welcome.
Yay! Thank you, Gretchen, for being with us.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited.
Very much a treat for us. And I have to say, I have an excellent story that I wanted to share about how we met. So my dear friend Mara had been telling me for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, there's somebody I'd like you to meet. She's a life coach. She's doing wonders for me. The guidance, the direction, the validation, the inspiration. And I was like, okay, yeah, in the throes of life. Sounds great, one of these days. And then my mom was insisting that I come and do a vision board. And I had done one in the past, but it had been a minute. And she was like, yes, I signed up for this. I'm going to sign you up. And I was like, oh, Mom, time is so limited. I don't know. And then my daughter, Audrey, who I cannot refuse, was like, I want to do one, Mom. I'm like, okay, let's make this a multi-generational fun experience memory. And lo and behold, I'm sitting there and chatting away. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, this is the woman, this is the Gretchen Mara wanted me to meet. So my whole point is that I believe life, happens for reasons, and we are brought together when we are supposed to be. And this is just awesome that we finally have a moment to sit down again with you.
And I remember when you walked in, and I felt like we already knew each other because, we just immediately started talking and connecting, and it was so easy.
Yes.
So
yes.
I remember that.
And I remember the Oprah connection too, because
Yes.
you met Oprah, and she's always, did you meet her? Not quite. Okay. Well, yeah.
That would have been an
Well,
exciting
we would
story.
like to meet you, Oprah. So
Yes,
There's
Oprah,
that.
if you're listening, you have 3 fans. Oh goodness. But anyway, so your journey to being, I know you are, multifaceted in your strengths and your gifts, but coaching is what I know about. What brought you to life coaching?
Oh boy. Well, honestly, 2 layoffs in 2 years, and it was
That would do it.
on the same exact day, 2 years apart.
Oh,
Wow.
see, I'm getting chills.
On July 30th. And so I knew that there was something else in store for me. I had a 20 plus year career in the health and wellness industry, and I thought that I had kind of peaked at doing, what I was going to be doing in that space.
Yeah.
And when I got word that I was being let go from my second job on the same exact day, I turned it over.
Yeah.
And I went on a mission. Literally, it was during COVID, to figure out what I was supposed to do because I thought I knew. And it was no longer the case. And so I literally meditated, and I journaled, and I just sought guidance. And one day it came to me that that's what I was going to do. And I found a program, I enrolled, I studied and practiced for 10 months, and now it's been like 3 years.
Oh, that's wonderful.
fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome.
And don't you find when you're on your path, things just open up and they just start to move?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like this is meant for you.
It was so crazy because I finished my life coach training. I went and got certified in yoga, which is something that I practiced for my lifetime.
Yeah.
And the combination of being able to help people in a yoga class, help people in their careers in my former work, and then professionally as a coach, yes, the evolution just continued happening and still is happening.
Yeah. And being able to change people's lives and help them in a positive direction, like, there's nothing like that. I feel like even with this and some of the other things that I do in my life, that's the case. Is there any, specific, not that you would go into any client that you work with, but is there any specific, monumental time that you've worked with someone, or a difference you've made in someone's life? You don't have to specifically, know who they are or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the examples that come to mind are mostly around career transitions, like people having the courage to dream about what it is that they'd really love to do, and take a look back at what their strengths have been and what their passions are. I love this exercise of the ideal day, write out your ideal day, who you're interacting with, do you have a commute, what do you wear, all of these things, what are the tasks that you're doing, And so helping people have a vision.
Yeah.
I've had people who completely changed careers and landed jobs. And sometimes in one case it happened in 5 weeks.
Oh,
They were
wow.
5 weeks time. Yeah,
That's
so I think
impressive.
that's like my
Yeah.
biggest success story is a young woman who
awesome.
pivoted careers and did so in 5 weeks. But I'm actually thinking about 3 people as I tell this example. It's like 3 very recent people who have found new careers for themselves.
That's awesome. And they're flourishing, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
In those careers. They probably thank you all the time.
It is so rewarding, I must say,
Oh,
like to
I'm
get
sure.
an email
Yeah.
or like an out of the blue message on LinkedIn from somebody who's like, thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So aside from having vision, what else? Because I think it takes so much courage. You know, that's the hard thing about the cycle of change. You could be in that contemplative stage forever, but to actually, you know, kind of blow up your life as you know it, to go for something that's not tangible yet.
Yeah, I think aside from courage, it's getting over the mental blocks. Like I must say that everybody's biggest challenge is the voices in their own heads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
So
Yeah.
do you teach them techniques or anything to overcome that? Because that's a tough thing sometimes.
Yeah, I was
It
actually
could take a whole lifetime.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because my life coach training is through the Courageous Living Coach Certification Program. So we actually do teach how to replace fear-based behaviors and habits with
Love
more
that.
courageous-based patterns. So yeah, you can learn to kind of flip the script in your head.
That's awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's
It is.
exciting for a lot of people, I'm sure. Hearing
Yeah.
this too.
Yes, and that your personal experience was a blessing in disguise. You didn't have a choice, and it was like, okay, the day of reckoning.
I think that's a great point because I've really been in the same shoes that a lot of my clients come
Yeah.
to me for, you know, that they feel like they've kind of hit rock bottom and they don't know what to do. And then, you know, through lots of practice, they claw, climb, and find their way over that, you know, mountain onto the next horizon. So it's been good.
Yeah, and not just with career, but with all areas, right? I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
people stay in relationships way longer than they should often because they're afraid that, you know, well, this is my lot, or there's nothing better, or I'm going to hurt
Right.
people, or who am I to be selfish? And yet it's like, you only have one life.
Right.
I know,
Right.
and I just
And it
supported.
shouldn't be a death sentence.
Right.
I just supported a 60-year-old woman
Oh,
who
wow.
came to her, you know, reckoning that she needed to leave her relationship that she was in. And she said, I have recent examples. I've recently had a career change, and I feel so much better having gotten out of that toxic situation. And she was like, so I can take that confidence that I have from doing a career move and apply it to my relationship. And she did. And she was like, she's still sad and she misses her partner, but she is so much better off without the weight, without the heaviness.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yes.
going to say. That heaviness is gone.
Because we're meant to evolve, and not everything's meant forever, you know?
Right.
Reason, season, lifetime.
Right. And I know you said that during COVID to find that you meditated a lot and you journaled. Is that still a part of your daily practice?
I did that for 4 years. For 4 years, and it, I
I
know.
need to get cracking.
And I have to admit, like last summer, so about 8 months ago, I was in a very busy season sending my youngest to college and, you know, going through some changes with my profession and so forth. And I kind of paused my morning practice, and it's something that I absolutely crave every day and like need to reintegrate. And life has gotten in the way of so many things, but it's a goal. It's a goal to return to that.
Yeah.
Well, even to doing yoga, which you said that you're still doing, that is also a form of it too.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
you're still, it's not like you don't do it at all. You're still doing it.
I have lots of practices of mindfulness for sure, but that formality of having a ritual every morning is really what I miss. Like I loved setting the
Yes.
tone of the day with intention like that was awesome.
It's so grounding.
Yeah. So
And it does set the tone for the whole day.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's on my to-do list.
Yes.
You got this.
Thank you.
Do you have any advice for like the younger generation in particular? Because they're growing up so differently than how we did.
That's really funny that you ask. Because I have found that I have a hard time coaching young clients. I feel that there are different challenges. However, my advice for them isn't any different from my advice for adults, and it's really about trying to find your anchor in terms of what do you value, what are you passionate about, you know, what lights you up, and what small step can you take that moves you closer in the direction to things that make you feel alive, because that's your authentic self.
Yes. Hallelujah.
You know, and like all of the answers are there, right? All of the answers are within, which is like a huge tenet of coaching. Like, I almost resisted your question because you said, do you have any advice? And coaching isn't about giving out advice. It's about asking people what their motivations are and what their desires are, and finding out what their barriers and blocks are and how they can, you know, transcend those things. But at the end of the day, it always comes back to, what do you want? What's best for you? You know, what lights you up? And so it's about, I think of it as an anchor or a North Star.
That's great. Yes.
Well, I was just listening to this Harvard professor talk. He teaches about happiness.
Yes.
And he said, you know, we have this false notion that adversity is not a part of it, and yet it is. It's
right.
like the incremental improvements that we make in our journey and having a purpose and a sense of direction. And it is about what lights us up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Stanford has one of those courses too, and people can take them for free. So that's awesome. Yeah, you can take these happiness courses online for free. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So to end, what would you say is like has been what you have found to be the most meaningful part of your life?
Wow.
That was a big one. It's a big question there.
The most meaningful part of my life, relationships. People, like who I'm spending my time with, how I'm spending my time. You know, I've done a little bit of research on the like end of life, people's regrets, and you know, the number one thing that they say is you know, being true in your relationships, having real conversations, showing up for people. That really matters in the end. So I would say that that's probably,
like cultivating and continuing to invest in the people in your life who matter.
Right.
Where there's reciprocity.
What's it
and
all
you support
for
each other.
We're not,
right.
you know, spending time with people
That's
that
right.
we love. And
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's not, and it's also the end of the life. It's not about the things that you did and failed. It's about the things you never tried.
Oh, that's right. Those are the biggest regrets, or the things that, and that comes back to the North Star or your anchor. Like, what are those things? Try to find the smallest step to go in that direction to make it possible for yourself.
Yep.
Which brings me to the vision board, by the way.
Yes.
If we
So
may.
we have some examples that she has brought of her vision board.
Well, so I do. I've been making these for a really long time, and this one is from probably 1995 or so. And I can tell you, rest assured, most of these things have come to fruition.
Love it.
Yep. And then I wanted to show you another. This is pretty cool. I made this board one January, and I had no idea where this was. I just thought it was a beautiful picture. You see it?
Yep.
And 1 month later, February, I came back home. This was displayed in my bathroom at the time. I came back home and I was like, oh my gosh, I just took a picture of that place in my camera roll.
Stop it.
And I didn't even know where it was when I cut it out. I just thought it was beautiful.
That is wild.
And Stacy, all right, now I have a confession. On my vision board, I don't believe it's on one that I brought. No, it's not.
No,
but I
okay.
did have Oprah Winfrey, and I did meet her, but I didn't want my thunder to be stolen.
Oh, that is so awesome.
So the point being, like, you can put the craziest things on vision boards, and they come true. And like and so many people get caught up on the how.
Yes.
And it's just like, what do you want? Now go after it. Go do it. So that's my advice to you.
Wait, can I say a little fun story
Yes.
about her too? I forget the name of the lady, and I'm sorry that I'm forgetting her, but she just wrote the book Worthy, and she like had this makeup industry that she like sold, I think, for like over $1 billion. You remember her name?
Is it Jenna something? Jen.
I don't
Sorry.
know, it doesn't matter. But anyway, she's friends with Oprah, and Oprah had given her personal number, and it took her 4 years because she didn't feel worthy to be receptive of, being in that
But
inner
she
circle.
had a lot of struggles in that industry in
Yes,
the beginning
she
anyways
did.
before she
Yes,
got
she
to where
did.
she's at.
Yes.
There were a lot of struggles for
Yes.
her. But she persevered.
Yes,
for
she
sure.
did.
It's all about perseverance.
Yes,
Yes.
it
for
is.
sure.
Yes.
Well, thanks, ladies. Thank you.
This was
It's
so
nice to be
fun.
with both of you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, I'm Gretchen North with Go North Coaching and the podcast Sticky Situation. I am a certified life and career coach, and I'd say that most often people come to me during transitions or when they're feeling stuck and in need of motivation, clarity, confidence. So oftentimes I'll ask my clients things like, if time, money, and talent were of no issue, what would you be doing with your life? And that points at their passions and what they really are interested in pursuing, but perhaps lack the courage to take action toward that. Then we break it down into what is the smallest, most intuitive next step that you could take that creates some momentum for you to move in the direction of your passions, of your interests. So trying to think of going about a bigger goal in small achievable steps is how I often work with my clients in attaining their goals, their personal and professional potential. I would love to be able to demonstrate coaching, but for ethical reasons, I'm not able to do that, but wanted to give you an idea of what it's like to truly experience coaching. So reflecting on that question that I asked, or if you had a magic wand and you could shift one thing in your life that you have control and influence over, what would that be? And that helps you understand the things that you have control over versus those things that you don't, and focusing your energy and actions and thoughts in purposeful ways. So I'd love to work with you. I offer complimentary sessions. You can find me at gonorthcoaching.com, and I'd love to hear from you.